Welcome to the Wormhole Manifest podcast, where I, Wormhole Matt, interview and converse with a different special guest or guests every week about a wide array of topics. And this week, I am very excited to have on the Manifest someone you may know from the Frown Town Podcast, which is a podcast about laws, their impact, and how everyday people can work within the local, state, and federal political systems to change our world. He works in comedy, is an activist, is a veteran podcaster. He's been doing the good work out there for a long, long time. He also has been instrumental in helping me get this show off the ground, so I owe him a debt of gratitude for all the assistance and encouragement to get me going on this project. So without further ado, let me now introduce Jay Jones.
I jumped the gun. Oh no. I was so eager. No, I need to be cool. I mean, like, hey, what's up? What's up?
Your name has been added to the manifest, where we will be soon traveling at the speed of light towards an unknown destination. So I hope you brought some road beers. Are you ready, man?
I'm good.
All right.
I'm good. Actually, I brought.
So how's it going,
LaCroix.
man?
Is that cool? That is my beverage
Whatever
of choice.
gets you through,
I drink
man.
LaCroix at a high level. I was gonna say championship level, but I paused because I realized there's no championship for drinking LaCroix. That's silly. But if there was a championship, I'd be in the running for it. I think I'd have a championship title run. I think I could do it. I'm in contention. I'm a contender. I'm a championship contender in drinking LaCroix is how I'm gonna place myself. I'm good though. How are you?
What is LaCroix? Like, is that the seltzer stuff? Like, I don't think I've ever had one.
This is passion fruit LaCroix. So LaCroix is like Perrier, and there was another one that was like super popular at one point that may not exist anymore. Actually, now that I think about it, but like it's so it is seltzer water. It is a light flavoring of passion fruit, a very hard water flavor, which is basically nothing, and bubbles to make you feel okay about it. I used to hate it. 100% used to hate it. And then so I stopped drinking.
Yeah.
And I needed something to shotgun. I was like, I can't. I still want to get up in the morning and shotgun something. So I started shotgunning LaCroix, and it's way better. It's better. That's not 100% true, but I was like, I want something that is a beverage that is cold to drink in summer, and LaCroix became my thing. And I do shotgun them. I have shotgunned LaCroix before. Like I'm talking the Pearson chug. I've done it. It's I wouldn't recommend it. It was terrible. I didn't enjoy it.
I can't do the bubbles, man. Like, I don't know why. Like, when I was in Switzerland, like the only water I could get was like the fizzy water. Like, it's just like plain water, but it's fizzy.
Amazing.
And I'm like, what is this stuff? I'm like, I like tried to get like a bottle of water. I'm like, I just wanted like a bottle of, like whatever. Like, I don't drink like the Aquafina or the whatever. Yeah. Like I just drink like plain old Walmart
in the
brand.
Biz, we call that flat
bottled water.
No, I was joking, just joking. So I honestly think it's acquired. So like I was like you, I just give me good old fashioned flat water. Just give me like that good old water, and I still like a good, I don't know why I'm going to continue to call it. I don't know. I'm going to continue to call it flat water. But it's fun. I still like a good flat water, but I started drinking LaCroix, like I said, to replace alcohol in its place in my life, especially beer. Like I really, really enjoy, and like beer from a standpoint of like refreshment, not just the alcohol aspects of it, but like refreshment standpoint, beer is pretty great. Like it's. I mean, top 5.
I was a hardcore beer lover. I used to brew my own beer actually for quite a while. And it was like, man, I had the kegerator. I had the kegging system. I was like, had several carboys going at the same time with different recipes. Like it was insane. I was way too into it.
I had a limited amount of space and money, but I also brewed my own beer. But like, what was really, really hard for me was, after I stopped drinking, I can't drink a lot of sugar because my body is betraying me, just slowly betraying me. It's just like, sugar, get that out of here. I don't have any insulin, so I can't drink that. And so I was like, I'm not going to do a diet drink because, quite frankly, very few of them are delicious. Like there's not a lot I like. Like I love Fresca. I'm a huge fan. I'm not here to talk trash about it, but it's pretty much the only like diet drink I can really put up with. And so I did it. I drank LaCroix. I hated it the first time. I 100% hated it. I still remember it was pamplemousse, which is grapefruit for the uninitiated. 100% hated it the first time. But I was like, you know what? I don't have any other choices. So I drank another one and I was like, all right, still kind of hate this, but okay. I can taste the grapefruit. And by like 3, I was like, you know what? LaCroix is not that bad. And I found myself going to the store. I hadn't even finished the entire pack of LaCroix I had. I still, by the way, in case you're keeping count, I still had like 5 left. I went to the store and bought another pack. I was like, that's it. I'm LaCroix. And I've been LaCroix ever since. It's been 5 years. It's been a great time. It's been a beautiful run. Actually, no, it's been 6 years. I'm sorry. 6 years. It's been a beautiful run. Yeah, I forgot. No, we've recently had an anniversary. It's it's super sweet. It's I don't think I'm leaving. I think I'm gonna be I might be a LaCroix man for life. I might upgrade to Perrier. I do enjoy it. The green bottle is very curvy. But I mean, like other than that, it's I don't know. It is acquired though. That's I think how I started down this path.
So do you not?
I stopped drinking
alcohol now, or
I'm bad at it. I'm real bad at it. And because I'm not good at it, I think it was better for me to just not drink in general. So like, yeah, I no longer drink.
Yeah. And it's not good to actually get good at it either. Like I can attest to that. Like I was very good at drinking, especially like on the job when no one knew what was going on. Like, clear water bottle with vodka. Like,
see, I wasn't like that level of bad at it. I was I was bad at it. Like, once I started, I don't know how to stop. Even if we're at blackout point, I don't know how to stop. I was that level. And I mean, at work, like, I mean, like I would just black out. There's no way I could have drunk at work, especially at the time I was at my worst. I was a teacher. So like I could never have gotten away with drinking at work, but off hours, I mean, all bets are off. I used to, and this is not, I'm not proud of this, but this is just to give context. I used to really admire Hemingway, and Hemingway had this thing where he would do this. By the way, you shouldn't admire Hemingway. Hemingway's a dick, but I used to really admire Hemingway. He's a real dick,
right? I've been to his home and all those 5-toed cats, man. Those like things are like crazy all over the place.
And in retrospect, I understand now that he is. But as a younger person, I really admired him. I thought he was I was a bro, and I thought he was a bro because I was a bro. I was broing a little too hard. And so like one of the things I remember reading was how he would like savor benders. So he would do this thing where he would purposely set himself up to just go onto a bender where he would just drink until he would just be completely gone for 7, 8, 9 days. He would just drink until he was just to a level of excess that he was just sick of drinking. And there was just the only thing he drank would just be alcohol, and it would just be very little food. And so I for some reason I thought, I'll do that. And I remember doing that in a weird way. I did it because I was on a budget. I was a teacher. So they had like 3 bottles of wine for $20 at the grocery store. So I just like got like $80 worth of wine. I was like, I'm going to a bender. And I still remember like powering through like 4 or 5 bottles of wine in like an hour and being like, yeah, like Chardonnay, buttery, just an uncomfortable amount of wine to drink. And I just remember being like,
man, I don't think I've ever drank that much wine. I always like either was liquor or beer, like sometimes liquor or beer.
I drank more wine than was classy.
Just get
more wine than was
debauchery.
Classy. It's not, it's not great. But like I said, I was on a budget, and I was like, I don't want to drink. I did not want to do that with liquor. So I feel like liquor would really fuck me up, though I have done it with whiskey, and it did fuck me up. But the time, the intro, the gateway to my Hemingwaying was wine. So I guess it was more of a Sex and the City binge than it was a Hemingway binge. It was a lot of Chardonnay. It was very Chardonnay heavy. And I don't regret that. I'm not saying that, but it just to give you the idea of how unbearably terrible it was. Just think of an overload of Chardonnay, and that's what I experienced. It was not fun. I don't think anyone.
Yeah, I've done some like crazy stuff, man. Like people that used to hang out with me a long time ago knew that once I started drinking, like I think I was at Mardi Gras like not the New Orleans Mardi Gras, but like I used to go to. We had a huge one in St. Yeah, like we went to a Mardi Gras that we had in St. Louis in the city. It was downtown, in this old part of town, and we used to go there every year. And like one time, I remember like falling down a flight of steps for like this building that we went up to a party, and I had been drinking since like 7:00 in the morning, and this was around noon or so, and I fell down the steps, and then I crawled outside, and then I was hugging like a brick wall, and people were walking by. I started like throwing up, and then like people were walking by and they were like, "Oh my God, look at that guy." Like just like screaming stuff at me and whatever. Like, you need to take him home and get him out of here. And then like 10 minutes later, I like woke up and like, oh, I need a beer. Like, I was like, crap. Like I like went around and then I drank more. And then later on, I ended up passing out like in an alleyway, I think, or something. Like it was just crazy. Like, why did I do this stuff? You know,
and this is about just that concept of Mardi Gras. Because we're saying it wasn't the New Orleans one, but I mean, the celebration itself is just, the Wednesday before Lent. But what's wild to me about that is that is kind of the concept of Mardi Gras. The entire point is like we're getting that last little bit of vice and sin in before we have to give it up for the Lord. And I mean I'm pretty sure it probably of course started as like, oh, let's have a steak before Friday, but now it's like it's get fucked up because we're supposedly going to do Lent. No one is doing Lent, but it's just turned into this like let's get fucked up party. I mean, and it's one of those things where like when people tell me that they had experiences like that at like Mardi Gras or at like those types of events, it's actually kind of one of those things where it's like, well, yeah, it happened because it's just wildly encouraged. I mean, like, that's expected. Like if you went there, if someone told you I went to New Orleans during Mardi Gras, didn't drink, just kind of hung out. Did you see anybody? Nah, I just stayed in my hotel room, was real chill. People are like, what the fuck did you go to New Orleans for? and I mean, it's expected, right? I think. And
I've been to New Orleans several times, and like I got really fucked up when I was there, but not to the level that I did when I was like back home and went to the local Mardi Gras and was like, but that almost like, it wasn't even like a Mardi Gras thing with me. Like that just so happened to happen. But like anybody who knew me, they were like, oh yeah, that's just Matt. He's like getting fucked up and he's going to go hug a brick wall pretty soon and throw up. And then he'll be back up in like a half an hour.
It's just events like that. I feel like, it feels like almost like an invitation to drink. You know what I mean? It feels like it's like well, everyone, and especially when another big one is St. Patrick's Day, which I used to love St. Patrick's Day. And right.
I love me some Guinness.
Honestly, I remember one time doing like tons of shots of tequila on St. Patrick's Day, and people be like, "No, not tequila." And I'm like, "I don't give a fuck. I'm just trying to get fucked up."
Oh,
and so that should give you the idea of really what St. Patrick's Day is about. It is a celebration of Irish heritage and wonderful Irish things. Like I assume Guinness is still Irish, right? I'm assuming they're still Irish. I'm assuming, and I guess brats and leprechauns. I don't know. I don't know because I was drunk. I know, but like for some reason German, they're always involved.
Like in sauerkraut and all that stuff.
They're always like, "How about some sausage?" I'm like, "Shouldn't it be like lamb? Right. What are we doing?" But anyway, long story short,
potatoes.
Maybe potatoes
There's like
should
just
be,
nothing but potatoes in Ireland.
Potatoes, but like it's which, by the way, maybe I've just been way too fucked up during like all of the Irish celebrations.
And like buckets of green beer. How do they make the green beer?
If I go to Ireland, is all their beer green? Because otherwise, what the fuck are we doing?
I think that I don't know. That might be just an American thing. Like
it's just for St. Patrick's Day.
Let's have some. Yeah. They hang up like some 4-leaf clovers and like you got to kiss like, under it or something. Like you just make up a bunch of shit.
What the fuck you say it is? We'll do it. What's that? Derbies?
Let's like, Blarney Stone. Let's like hand those out. Here's a rock,
sure,
from a gravel pit over here.
Whatever. Whatever. What color? Green? Why not?
Yep.
Yeah.
Big
sure.
belt buckle.
We don't know. We don't know. And we're not going to Ireland.
pot of gold, you know? There's like a pot of gold.
The chances
somewhere,
of one of us
under
going
a
to
rainbow.
Ireland, low. Real low. It's just low. We're not going. We're not. So whatever. Yeah, just tell us whatever. We'll believe it. That's the whole vibe of St. Patrick's Day. It's just whatever you say. Sure. That's what you had? Corned beef hash? Of course. That sounds Irish. Why not? But no, it's an invitation to drink. It's 100% just an invitation to drink. And it's I'm not knocking it. I think that drinking among people who have the control to do it is fantastic. I understand that that's some people's vice and that they control it well and they drink, and that's fine. I'm not a teetotaler in that sense where I'm like, get rid of all alcohol. But I do understand the draw of it, especially if you're in the middle of like wrestling with it and trying to understand how to, either accepting the fact that you can't control it or, trying to understand how to control it when you're very young and starting off in the drinking. You know what I'm saying? So I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because it can definitely it can go either way. Like either it becomes a part of you and like who you are, and like you use it as like this, like what I did personally, like I used it as like a mask, like it was a crutch. Like I had so much going on inside that like the only time I could stop and think, because I was like ADHD and my mind was going a mile a minute and like, everything was coming at me all at once, speed of light. And I'm like, the only way I could calm my mind down was to drink. And like, then when I felt like everything just fit together, like I could speak, I could say what's on my mind. I could like, I could remember things that I couldn't do when I was sober. Like it was crazy. So like it became this mask I put on, and like I drank for so long that it just became this part of me. Like people knew me, and like if they saw me outside of work, they were like, "Hey man, let's go get a drink." And I'd be like, "Hey, I'm there." Like it was all about drinking like all the time. And what I ended up finding out was that by doing that, and when I actually stopped drinking, I stopped drinking for about 3 years. And when I did, that's when all the issues that I had been covering up for like 35 years, like started to surface. Like all the things I had been covering up all my life, all the past trauma and things like that, those things started coming out. And like, that's when I was like, man, something's wrong here, like, and I started doing therapy and getting on different medications to try to help figure out why I was like so messed up. Like I just felt wrong. I felt like I had a lot of stuff going on that was just not right. Yeah. And I kind of look at it and I'm like, why did I could have just not quit drinking, but then my health would have like not been so good. I was on a path of destruction anyway. So it's like, I don't want to keep going that route, but I don't want to be like insane either. Like I had to like have something to cover it up or like simmer it down a little bit, like, and, I was put on all these meds and they made it worse. Like the medications I was put on, like they like made me, I was like a complete zombie. And like, I like just started like disassociating, like with everything around me. Like I started not interacting with my family and friends, and like started shutting people out, and like just became an asshole and was grumpy. And like some days I couldn't get out of bed for like 2-3 days straight. It just got bad. And about 2 years ago, I like decided to get off some of the medications and start drinking, but like not as excessive. I was using it to kind of be a buffer while I was getting off the medications. And like while I was on the medications, I found the only thing that helped me participate in life was smoking a lot of weed. Like that was the only thing, because I was on like amphetamines and stuff, like for ADHD, and like I was so wired all the time. I'm like, okay, I need something to calm me down. So I would smoke a lot. And then that really wasn't working either. Like once I got off some of the meds, like now I can't smoke weed for some reason. It makes me like super like paranoid and like almost have like a panic attack. Like it's just crazy. Like I loved weed for like several years, but I was military most of my life, so I couldn't smoke, so like once I got out and retired, I like started smoking all the time. And I'm like, it was just crazy. But like I had quit drinking, so I'm like I needed
That's
something else to fill in the space, you know. And
it's every military person, as soon as they get out, they just smoke a lot of weed and they grow a beard. It's like yeah, or long hair,
or grow their hair long and then buy a motorcycle, you know, and like start
a lot of weed, a beard, long hair, and a motorcycle. That's the veteran starter kit. It's I mean, I get it.
Yep. I'm not quite there. I mean, I got the beard and the long hair, but you know, like, and I did smoke weed. I guess I'm happy. I didn't buy a motorcycle. I had like a small, like little, like type, like Vespa like scooter.
That's
you know,
like, no one's
that's
gonna
not
hold
quite.
you that. I honestly, so I'm 6'6". I don't know if you know that about me. And I want a scooter so bad, but I'm concerned about because I'm 6'6". So it's like, first of all, I don't know if I can do a scooter because of just sheer size. I feel like my poor little scooter is just going to be like all the time, just like ramped super high, going 20, and just falling apart because it's just dying trying to move me. So a lot of
trying
hills
to hit those hills, you know.
I
like...
100% want one, and I was looking at like little collapsible scooters because we're starting to put in like light rails and throughout the city of Seattle. So I don't live in Seattle proper. I live in a little suburb outside called Edmonds. And so what I typically do is I drive everywhere into Seattle. What I want to do is drive into the light rail, park my car, take my little collapsible scooter onto the light rail, and then just scoot my way around all over town. And like they have like I'm gonna do this one day because they have like the rental Lime scooters. I don't know if you've seen those. Do you have those in your city?
I'm not even in a city,
cool.
Man. We don't have
I will
jack
I will
shit
describe
out here.
this
There's
nonsense
like
to you
cow
because
farms.
you have not experienced it. So they have rental scooters that are available throughout the city of Seattle. They are so essentially you they're just sitting there on the side of the road. You walk by, you scan your debit card, put in some information, and then it's yours. And for however long you have it, they'll basically just charge you at the end and send you a receipt through your phone. It's like super useful. It sounds cool, but the thing is, those things go like 40 to 50 miles per hour. People drive them in traffic, and there's like it doesn't have a helmet attached to it. No. You bring your own helmet. It's just a motorized scooter, and so you'll see people like you see tourists on them a lot. You think it's the greatest thing ever, but like the streets of Seattle are rough, both literally and figuratively. Well, not figuratively, just literally. There's a lot of potholes. There's a lot. There's just a lot of construction all the time. The streets don't make sense. It's the first place I've ever been where like a street will intersect another street, and instead of it just being a straight angle, it's like this. It'll go in and then cut across, and it comes in at the peak of the cut. So like you have to go up, and it's like at the peak of the curve, the other street intersects and goes across it. It's like, why would you do this? Yeah, like why would you do that? Like it's stuff that when you see it, like you could just if you're bored, if you're just bored one day. Just look up Seattle on Google Maps, like Seattle downtown, and just really look at those maps from up top and look at that nonsense because it makes zero sense. And people navigate these things on like bikes, so there's integrated bike lanes with like their own signals that are running at different times as the actual car signals. There's people who do not care about you because they just walk in front of whatever. If the signal is theirs, they don't give a fuck about what you have. And there's cars, which are cars, and you have to navigate that on a scooter. And I'm just so worried that the added complexity of, and you're way too big for this scooter, it's just too much. But I want one.
I don't know, man. Like that's a tough one because like I mean I love like scooters and stuff like. I actually had I had a motorcycle license for a while. Like when I was going through some of my crazy stuff, I was like, I actually told my boss, I'm like, I need to take some time off work because I'm going to take this like motorcycle safety class. And he's like, why are you doing that? I'm like, because I bought a scooter and I want to be able to ride it to work. And in order to get through the front gate of the military base I was working on, like you have to have a motorcycle license. And I'm like, I want to do this because I want to save money on gas. Like, and so that validated it enough. And he was like, okay, yeah, go ahead and do that. I had like no like time on the books for like, you know, like taking vacation time or anything because I was like working on a military base, but I was a civilian technically, even though I wore a uniform every day. But like I I was a technician in the Air National Guard,
Yeah.
so that means you're like
Yeah, I get it.
civilian status. But it's a weird thing. But like I had a lot more leeway, but I had used up most of my vacation time by like not coming into work because I was like so hungover or like strung out on like pain medication from my back injury and all kinds of crazy stuff. So like I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take this time off, you know, I'll make up for it later, you know. Like, and they're like, okay, yeah, go ahead. So I did the motorcycle safety class and I got my motorcycle license. And then I rode the scooter into work like once. Like,
Well, I mean, you saved gas at one time.
And for a while there, like, yeah. For a while there, like people were having to come to my house and pick me up because they were afraid I wasn't going to go to work that day. That's how bad off I was. So depressed and fucked up that like I just started not going to work. And they were like, you kind of just can't do that. Like you're part of an organization that like pays you.
I get that.
Pays
I understand
benefits,
that,
and
but I feel like that shouldn't be the case. So like okay, if you so let's say you badly injured your back and you couldn't walk. And you called in to work and you're like, hey, my back's real bad. And they'd be like, all right, we'll take how much time you need. Your job will still be here. Get better, right? If you're depressed and you're just struggling to get out of bed, barely can walk.
Both.
If you call in to work and say, hey, I'm really depressed, I can't come into work, the answer is typically get the fuck out of bed and come into work. Why are those different? They're both
right.
legitimate like health issues.
Exactly.
They both require time to recover from, but one is considered a sure thing, no problem, take that time, and the other is considered a nuisance. And I don't understand that.
Yeah, it's insane. It's like, you know, it just goes to prove that our system is not right. Like and everything we've been brought up to believe is just like totally way off from like how it should be. And like, I think your show covers a lot of this stuff as far as like laws and things like how to change things like within our society, you know, like, and that's what I want this show. Like my show is, I want to gear it towards mental health because of all the things I've been through. And I know there's a lot of people out there suffering that have been through similar things. Like I know I'm not the only one that's like been, you know, an alcoholic, drug addict, super depressed, PTSD, mental issues, like all these like tons of things compounded into like, especially like with me, there was a lot of loss. You know, I lost like my mom and dad and like and three of my brothers. And it's just been like, you know, constant throughout my life dealing with loss by not dealing with it, by just drinking and like taking pain medication after I had back problems and, you know, like, and a couple back surgeries and like just nonstop. Like it's just been nonstop. And I was in this like corporate world and then I was in the military and they just tell you to like, you know, pull up your bootstraps, get out there, like just do your fucking job, like color in the lines and do whatever. But that's
I think
not what people need to hear. You know,
to your point, you're right.
People need to hear
that, and the fact that like it's an entire system of beliefs that's been built around this idea that, you know, mental health problems aren't serious, that, you know, being, you know, that your mental health is a condition that you control, that it's something that like, you know, it's just, you just have to change the way you think. You just have to change the way, you just have to change, you know, just do it. Right. Just do your thing. Just get, And
like it's so easy, you know, like,
right.
Like flipping a switch on and
like,
off, you know.
It's a really funny instance in a show that I remember watching where someone was having a problem sleeping and they said, well, have you tried just putting your head on the pillow and closing your eyes? It's like, oh, you mean going to sleep? Have I tried going to sleep to go to sleep? Oh, so fucking brilliant. It's so goddamn brilliant. I didn't do that. Why not just put my head on the pillow and close my eyes, aka go to sleep, to fucking go to sleep. And it's such a blow up because in truth, it's just people telling you when they're like, well, have you tried just like pushing through? Oh, you mean, did I just try to jump to the end of being depressed? Yeah, of course I fucking tried it. If I could just not be depressed, I wouldn't be depressed now. And it's like, it's infuriating because again, if it were anything else, if I came out with COVID and I was like, hey, boss, I got COVID, they wouldn't be like, have you tried not having it? Of course I tried not having it. It's Of course I did, but all these tests say I have it. So, right.
Did you take some horse dewormer? You know,
thoughts?
I mean,
what? So it's laughable on that end, but then when it comes to a legitimate mental health problem, which is the same severity and the same difficulty to try to overcome, it's just, well, did you try just not doing that? It's like, no, that's not the best, most brilliant take. And I think the thing that I really want us to do as a culture, and I used to think that this was going to go away as boomers died off, because it's a real boomer attitude, I feel. And this might just be being ageist, so I apologize for that. But it feels like a real boomer attitude, just like, just, buck up. That feels boomer, right? Like, bootstraps, it feels boomer. But I thought that was going to go away.
Yep.
I now believe what's going to happen is that for a lot of us, and it is already kind of happening, is that it's already been internalized into all of us. And it's, you can see it in our attitude and how we treat people who have mental health issues, how we treat mental health care and healthcare in general, and even how we treat people who are homeless. When you look at how we treat those people and how we're just kind of like, it's your fault, it's your problem. Even when you think about like how we treat recycling, like when you think about recycling, if there was a company that told you like, hey, we're making a product for you that unfortunately the waste from that product is going to destroy the earth, we would tell them not to fucking make the product. But soda companies do it every day with plastic bottles, and it's our responsibility to solve the toxic waste of plastic. And it doesn't make sense when you think about it like that. It's like,
yeah. And then like shit's going in the ocean and destroying ecosystems and all this stuff. And
despite
it's like,
the fact that the soda company made a product that is toxic and sold it, and then made us all believe that it was our fault when it started harming the earth. It's like, and the glass bottle system was fine. And also it worked, by the way, because the soda companies paid for it to work. They had to pay into it. Yeah. And that's why they were so gung-ho for plastic, because they could get away from paying money, which it's a whole thing about capitalism. But anyway, the point of all of this was to say, quite frankly, that I feel that we have this real love affair with blaming ourselves for and allowing ourselves to believe that it is our fault that the planet is damaged, and not the fault of legitimate greed and capitalism. That it's our fault that things don't work out, as opposed to just the external forces around us. And we even internalize it, where a lot of us, every time I talk about my experience with therapy, I feel like all of us are having the same experience, where it's like, yeah, I found out I just fucking hate myself. And it was like, me too. And it's like, we just been taught, and it comes from, my father, who is a boomer, spent a lot of time just really negatively talking to me as a way to motivate me. Because again, that's why I probably think of it as being a boomer thing. That's how I got exposed to it. And we've all just internalized that. And we've tried to break it a little bit, where, for a bit we were like, oh, let's give our kids participation trophies. But that is more performative than the actual act of breaking the thought process and breaking because if we were really about breaking it, we would have been saying like, maybe we need to give homeless people homes. Maybe we should give people who can't afford healthcare like healthcare. Right. Maybe we need to give everyone healthcare. Like maybe it shouldn't be about afford. If we were really trying to break that pattern, but we're not. We just want to feel better about it being inside of us. And we're just passing it on to our kids right now, which kind of makes me sad. I don't have kids, so I don't feel that sad about it. But it makes me sad to know that's what's happening.
I have 3 kids, and it's terrifying, man. Like the stuff that you just talked about. It's like, like all that craziness I just talked about a little bit ago. Like the whole time, my kids are sitting there looking at like me, and they're like, "What is wrong with you?" Like, why are you? What is going on? And they're just clueless. They feel helpless because they see their dad suffering and they don't like know what to do. And like I've told them many times, I'm like, it's not your fault. Look, it's not your fault. It's I've been through stuff, and like, I want to take care of you and all this, but I just can't right now. Like I really want to, and I feel horrible about it, but like, it's just, this whole thing with capitalism and the way that the things have, and you say boomer, and it reminds me of like the fact that like I basically am a boomer, like the way that I grew up, because my parents were so old when they had me. They grew up in the silent generation. So the way I was raised to be a boomer, even though I'm Gen X technically. Like I was like latchkey kid and all that stuff. You know, they had no idea what I was doing throughout my life because they weren't there. Like I grew up on my own and like did everything unless I got caught doing something. And then they were like, you're grounded, whatever, you know? And even like 2 hours later, they're like not even thinking about me. You know, they're just like, you know, I'm just like doing my own thing. I'm like 20 miles away from the house and they have no idea, you know, like I was like on my own, like at like 10 years old.
I'm
whatever.
I'm old millennial.
It's just insane.
I'm not the oldest millennial, but I am in that second year of old millennial. So like, I think the oldest is like, you're like on the cusp. Like you're on that like borderline Gen X. I'm a little further in millennial. I think like, the oldest millennial is like 1980, and I was born in 82. So it's like I'm a little but like it's. I was there, I guess. Like I remember a time without internet. I remember being very latchkey kid too. So I remember like for a very and it changed as I got a little older. I think my parents tightened up because like I remember there was also that scare in the 80s and 90s where kids were getting kidnapped, and parents were like, "Oh no, child molesters." I was born right about the time that parents were like, you know, people aren't good. You can't trust your kids running around the neighborhood anymore. And that was kind of, and also crack. So, you know, it's that time period was like, you know, where things started to tighten up, I feel. And that was like right as I was, the internet, crack and AIDS, the internet,
AIDS,
like it got hot, you know, hot out in the streets. And
like the 80s were like, I mean, I remember them way too well. Like, especially now that I'm coming out of this brain fog I've been in for the past like 5-6 years. I'm like, holy shit, I lived through the 80s. Like that was freaking insane. But you know what? The movies were fucking awesome.
I love the 80s aesthetic, 80s honestly, movies, if we're going to be truthful about it. The whole aesthetic is perfect.
Oh, yeah. Man.
Yep.
We need to take a break real quick. Folks out there listening, we're going to take a break and then we're going to come right back in. I want to get into a few more things. Like Jay's like been in podcasting forever and he's also a stand-up comic. So I want to kind of touch on some of those things. And there's a few other questions I have for you. So everybody hang in there and we will be right back. Hey everybody, we are back and we got Jay here. And while we were on break, we were like just chatting away about all kinds of stuff. And before we left you, we got into some stuff. And now I'm trying to remember exactly all the stuff we were talking about. But it was,
so we talked about other countries. I remember that. There was some talk of that. We talked about travel. We talked about mental health and our attitudes towards it. We talked about like jobs were involved in there a little bit. I remember that. We were a little all over the place, but it was good. There was a lot of I would say premium content in that. Quotation marks and trademark. I feel like the biggest part of the conversation, I feel that I'm gonna say I think existed there was the mental health part. So I think we had a really, really meaty conversation around that.
And that's
I was excited about that.
That's like, that's what I'm trying. That's my intent here, you know, but like, you know, I have a lot of variety of guests and I want to get into just what people are doing, you know, like, and get like different perspectives of like what people are dealing with, you know, like I've talked to some people that had COVID and what they're dealing now. They have the long COVID. And speaking of COVID, like you're in the comedy industry, I guess, or like, I don't know.
I don't either. No, I'm a comedian. I do stand up. I also write. I was a stronger comedy writer in my 20s. I think. So I used to write comedy for other people, in my 20s. And so what ended up happening is I have become a bit more selfish with my writing, I guess, as I've gotten older. So now I'm only writing for me comedy-wise. I still write as the job that pays the bills, because comedy is not great for that. But I still, I still write at my other job, but I've gotten very selfish about my writing, where a lot of what I'm doing now is more writing for me. And I mean, I'm just for now. I'm sure I'll write for someone else at some point.
How has the state of the world the past like year and 8, 9, 10, 11 months almost
the last
the whole
millennia
pandemic
we went through,
thing,
mean?
like
the last full birth and rise and destruction of a universe we went through.
Exactly, and that's going to get to one of my last questions we have on this show.
The last eons of time, so great that all of us have withered away.
The destruction of the universe.
So comedy was different, right? I mean, I feel like the obvious answer here is well, we all had to go to Zoom. So I'm going to be a little bit more nuanced. Here's what I'm going to say. The pandemic did not end comedy. A lot of us had to go into other avenues. For some people whose jobs revolve solely around comedy, so your comedy club owners, and then typically what happens in comedy clubs is that they hire a comedian to like work the door or like in the kitchen or as a waiter, just to kind of help staff the club. Those jobs all kind of went, right? So a lot of the people who were able to continue to do comedy had to find other ways to do it. And I think class stratification kind of came to play with that. So for example, and I guess I'll use myself as the example as the terrible person with money. So I'm the terrible person with money in this example. So when comedy stopped for me, I had to move to Zoom. So what I did is I already had a strong internet connection. I went out and bought a computer that could handle streaming essentially. Bought a monitor, bought a setup to build everything for it. I already had the mics. I was already podcasting.
And you didn't come to me. I own a computer repair company and sell custom built computers, but nobody ever comes to me.
So that was a great plug. I did not, but I didn't know that at the time. If you had been plugging before, I would know that.
Right.
So, with everything else, I had the money and the resources to kind of like to do that, to kind of put everything together to build something so I could do it. And then I lucked out, and I switched jobs, went to I am the horrible person with money in this scenario. I switched jobs with the pandemic and went to a job where I was getting paid more. And at that job where I was getting paid more, at the Christmas party, where, by the way, I switched right before Christmas. So like a week into me having the job, I'm at the Christmas party and they're giving away gifts. And there was a trivia contest for the gifts. I learned enough of the trivia to place high enough to score like $1,000 camera. So I have a 4K camera. And so I was like, yeah, I want that. And then like I had friends who were nice enough who during the pandemic were super sweet for my birthday, because the pandemic took away the ability for us to gather. They put their money together and gave me a ring light. So I have all the stuff that I need to just kind of like produce comedy from my this place where you see me right now. And so like for me, it was not that big of a deal to transition. It was really easy for me to be like, yeah, I can do show because I have all the stuff to do it. For other people who didn't have that setup, they didn't have that. It was hard for them to transition if you don't have an internet connection. Also, like I live in a house with like one other person, so I don't have to like be concerned about roommate schedules. I don't have to be concerned about where the money's going to come from. Like, how am I going to work? I have a specific set schedule with my job. And like I mentioned, because of how some things worked out for me, I ended up making like a lot more money during the pandemic than I was previous. And I kind of lucked up into having some stuff. So for me, it worked out fairly well because I was able to continue doing comedy over Zoom. I actually like have a whole like 10 to 15 minutes of stuff that I wrote and practiced and did that came directly from the pandemic because I was able to use Zoom to do it. But there were other comedians that didn't get that opportunity, who either had to stop doing comedy or take like sketchy road gigs where like they had to go to places where they hadn't shut down yet. So like here in Seattle, everything was shut down throughout most of the pandemic proper, which is what I'm calling the first year and a half of the pandemic. We're in the pandemic minor right now, but in the pandemic proper, it was they were shut down. But other places like I think Ohio, Florida, they were still open, and so I know comedians.
Oh God! Don't even get me started on Florida.
There's a lot, but because other places across the country were open, there are comedians who have the connections and had to make money who were traveling to try to. And some comedians didn't need to. It's like D.L. Hughley, he's not starving. Like DL didn't have to. I mean, like I get it. I understand wanting to do comedy, but come on, DL, you didn't have to. But there are some comedians who legitimately had to take, these gigs, who legitimately had to take this work. And for what it's worth, while I'm knocking DL Hughley, there are people who eat off of him working, not just his family. It's like his agent, his people on the road, who may have been relied on that paycheck, and not just him. So I mean, I'm sorry for knocking DL Hughley for that. There's other factors, I guess. But that's how a lot of comedians work. And fortunately, I didn't have to do that because I was just fortunate enough to kind of have all the video production stuff and the mic and stuff in the foundation and kind of know how to work all of that to be able to set up to do. And I don't do my comedy show with this stuff behind me. This is a different camera. I face a different way. It's very professional. But I just happen to have all that stuff available. And so it made it a little bit easier for me. It's harder for others though. And then, yeah,
man, like, I get it. Like, I mean, I had the pandemic for me was kind of like this blessing in disguise, because I had been suffering for so long with so many like mental health issues that like my wife had to do everything that required leaving the house and like obtaining goods like groceries and all that, like, because for years I wouldn't leave the house. Like I just wasn't going out. But the pandemic kind of provided me like this out. Like I knew that hardly anyone was going to be in the grocery store. So I'm like, I'm going to try this. And then I'm going to wear a mask so nobody can see me. And if I go in, I'm just going to test it out. I'm going to go into the grocery store. If I start to freak out, I will leave. But I didn't. I went in, I had the mask, and it was kind of like this weird security blanket, like
it's actually kind of cool.
And I wore the mask and I went in, and there was like maybe 5 people in the whole store. And I was pushing the cart around. I was able to look at all the different vegetables and the different products. And I was able to pick out things. Like before, it was like mass chaos. I'd go into the store. There's like fucking kids running down the aisles, screaming and crying, mothers yelling at their kids, like old people going so slow you can't get around them. I was like, fuck this, man. I can't take it. I'm getting out of here, and I'm going back to the car, and I'll wait for my wife to get done. And when she gets out there, I'm going to be like, fuck that place. Fuck everything. I'm sick of this shit, but the pandemic kind of just made it really super chill. Like I was able to integrate slowly back out into the world, like without getting super frustrated or mad, or like I was able to like walk around and take my time. The worst part about grocery shopping before was like, we used to go to the store where you have to bag your own groceries at the end on a big counter. It's called Aldi. I don't know if you know about that, but like,
I don't know the store, but yeah, I've seen those stores.
But I used to feel so pressured to get my shit bagged up so fast that I had to just get the fuck out of there. Like, because there was a bunch of people behind me waiting to use the counter where you can like bag the stuff. And I'm like, I can't do this. But the store I started going to, like, they bag it up for you. And then as an extra added benefit, they will push a little trolley thing out to your car and load it into your trunk or your, I have like an SUV, like a Suburban. They would just load it into the back, and like, it's so freaking easy. And like, that just made it so much better for me. Like, and I started doing that. Now I can go back to the store where I have to bag my own stuff. But what I do is I keep it all in the cart and I push the whole cart out to the back of my SUV. So I'm out in the parking lot. Now it's cold out, so it sucks because I'm bagging stuff up with my own bags, and I'm like putting stuff in the back of my car. But like it's way cheaper at that place, and they have some better stuff.
I'm not bold enough to do it, but she does this thing where when she shops, she takes her own bags with her, and then she bags it as she shops. And so what she'll do is that she'll I'm not confident enough to do this. I feel like this is, in my mind, I'm like, they're gonna think I'm stealing, but she does it, and I've been in the store while she was doing it. I'm looking around like, she's doing it, not me. I'm not stealing. It's her. She's doing it. You guys take her, not me. I'm not an accomplice. Don't think I'm with her. But so she has done that before, and so she'll take everything up to the cashier and just hand them a bag. They'll scan everything, take it out, put it back in, hand it back to her. She'll hand them another bag. They'll scan everything in that bag. In practice, it's like you realize as you watch, it's like, oh yeah, that makes complete sense. I don't have to bag it all here.
Damn. I wish they had that here, man. Like, I would totally do that.
You can do it anywhere because I mean, like, as long as you pay for everything, it doesn't matter when you bag it. It's just like in your, it's just your mindset towards it. And it was me seeing her do that where I was like, well, hot damn, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Like, it's like, I mean, like, if I can bag my groceries before I pay for them, I mean, what is this world? And a lot of times it's just your own inhibitions. Like a lot of we think the way the grocery store works is you go, you pay them, and then you put it in the bag. You bag it then, and then you leave. But no one says you can't bag it before and then just hand them the bag and have them take everything out, scan it. Is it inconvenient for the cashier? Oh yes, most definitely. But, oh yes,
probably.
Not even probably. Yes, it is. Because they have to take everything out and put it back in. Super inconvenient. So on that front, if you want.
I don't think that would work at Aldi though, because like they you push your cart up and like you take everything out of the cart and put it on the belt, and then there's another cart sitting at the end where they're like sitting actually at a chair at the thing, and they like take it, scan it, throw it into a new cart, and then. So when you get done, your cart is behind you. Your original cart is behind you, and the new cart is in front of you, and then you pay and push a new cart away.
Just to make sure I understand this, there's a person on the other side of that cart who's putting things into the cart.
No. Okay. The cashier is sitting behind a register at the end of the conveyor belt. I thought there was another
person who's just sitting there, just hanging out, chilling, just been like, I could put it in bags. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna put it in the cart and make you suffer. That would have been hilarious if they were like, "Yo, we didn't save any money on this. This is just to fuck with you. We just don't. These aren't baggers. They're just personal harassers. They're just here to harass your food. They're gonna harass your food, talk shit about you while you put it in bags. Oh, you gonna put the bread at the bottom? Oh, you stupid. That's all they do. And then you leave, and that's our service to you. Thank you for shopping at Atlee. Fuck you. Like that's what I thought was happening. I was like, oh wow, it's ballsy. But okay, that makes more sense.
No.
That's very ballsy. Very ballsy. Like that's just a bold strategy to make money. I don't know if it would work, but let's see.
That's like eating at like Ed DeBevick's in Chicago, where they just like straight up an asshole to you, like no matter what. Like you just like go in and you're like, well, what the fuck do you want? Come here, follow me, sit at this fucking table.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I get it. Like there are dumbs and subs in the world, and I get that would appeal to specific types of people. I'm just saying, like it's a very niche market, I feel.
Oh man. But yeah, like the whole pandemic thing, like it helped me start to integrate back into the world, and it sucked for a lot of people. Yeah, and I know that. Like, and I have
that same kind of feeling around it.
It's crazy.
Like I said, I found another job. I made more, and it's interesting what happens. I found another job, paying me more money. I went to that job. It didn't work out. I came back to my old job, and they're like, "Well, we'll pay you more," because before I left, they offered to pay me more to keep me. And so when I came back, they're like, "Well, we'll pay you that more." And I was like, well, first of all, you didn't have to do that. You totally could have screwed me over and been like, we'll pay you what you had when you left, bitch. You could have done that, but you didn't. So thank you for that. But it's, so I ended up in a better situation overall during it. I suffer from social anxiety, as I've mentioned. And the key trigger of social anxiety are social situations, which the pandemic eliminated very many of those for me. Like I didn't have to go into an office. I didn't have to have conversations with people. I didn't have to small talk while I was trying to get water. I didn't have to like walk into a bathroom and have someone be at a urinal right there at the urinal. And I walk up to the urinal and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just holding my dick. I just want to piss." I just like, I didn't have to have those conversations. And I get that those are just normal small talk conversations. There's nothing terribly wrong with those. It's very socially awkward for me. And I get very anxious about them. And so because that was all kind of removed from my plate, I didn't have to drive a lot of different places. My commute was removed from my plate as well. Because of that, I ended up I feel like in a healthier place because I have had extra time, extra money to do things that I wanted to do, to pursue things I wanted to pursue. And so I feel like, I felt guilty initially because, so many people, I even would talk to people about how things were going during the pandemic. And for a lot of people, it was not good. Like, they are having issues trying to find, work and trying to keep their place.
Oh, yeah.
And, some of my friends, fortunately, because I live in Seattle, a lot of them were able to get benefits, but there would be times when I call friends back home or talk to people who are in states who were not as forthcoming with those benefits, who were really in danger. And, overall, I feel the entire country was very much in danger, and it was for everyone a trying time. And I understand feeling a little guilty about that. But the thing that I will say is that, there's, I think the circumstances that brought about positive change in my life being traumatic doesn't negate the positive change that happened. It is something still positive that came out of it. And I mean, I try to be happy that I was able to find something positive out of it. I hope, I wish that everyone was able to, but I know not everyone was. But for those of us who did, I don't want to cheapen it in a sense, or even like, make it like, well, this is nothing. Because for those of us who didn't get positive change from it, would look at it like, what the fuck? No, it's great. What do you mean? I wish I had that. Like I wish I had that. And so, while I wanted, and also like, acknowledging that we do have it and being able to like help other people and like, do things with mutual aid, use platforms that you may have acquired, I think is another thing that is really useful as well. So I've been able to funnel like extra money to other people who needed help, be able to do mutual aid, donate to things, and just, it's like, well, I have more money now, so like, let's give more away. And that's been nice as well. And so I think it's something that instead of me feeling kind of like bad about it, I think I've been trying to at the very least understand that it is a neutral stance. Take a neutral stance to it of that happened to be the experience I had, and it allowed me to do things that I felt were very positive within my life. It opened the ability for me to be able to get therapy, to be able to help my own mental health. It gave me the ability to be able to donate to other people so that they can get help in forms and various matters that they need to. It gave me more time to devote to I started a podcast to help people learn more about laws, and people for the most part actually kind of have from that. It gave me the opportunity to there was expansion to my comedy career in certain ways that I didn't expect, but it was there. And I also got to spend more time with like my wife and at home with my with someone who's very important to me. So all of those things are positive things and changes that happened in my life during a pandemic. And it's not necessarily because of the pandemic. It happened during. There were circumstances and situations that were spurred on by the pandemic, working from home and working remotely. And I'm thankful for those. But like being able to spend more time with my wife and having a stronger relationship with her, it's a positive change that I think happened during that I don't regret. Being able to help more people is a positive change I don't regret. Being able to focus a little bit more internally on myself and heal some of the trauma that I've experienced mentally throughout my life is a positive change that I don't regret. And I don't want to cheapen those things by feeling that like I should have some guilt around it. So I'm trying to do a little bit better job of just even just being neutral towards that and just understanding that just happened to be my experience and not feeling like, well, I should have been sad and I should have been, losing my home and, going through an insane amount of pressure because everyone else did, or I feel that everyone else did.
No, absolutely, man. Like that's it, man. It's like if you're not making the best of one of the world's like worst situations, like what else can you do? Like, I mean, and especially if you learn and grow from it, like, and are able to provide better back to society, like towards the end of it, or like at, up to this point, like, and that's what, like, one of my first episode doing this, the show was about COVID and had a guest on that has long COVID and the issues, because I kind of like you, it's like I kind of for like a little bit like felt bad that like I was like healing some of my trauma during this time while other people were suffering. And but like I can't look at it like that. I have to look at it like this pandemic gave me the opportunity to be better for our future, like as everyone, as like a society. And like, like it wasn't better just for me. Like it's better for me so that I can, like you said, like I can learn and grow and like help other people from this point out. Like, and that means the world to me, because like I wasn't able to do that before. Like I didn't ever see an end to, I mean, I saw an end to my pain and suffering before, but it wasn't the end that I actually desired. It was like, it was not the end. Like it was not the end anybody prefers, but I was like, my kids and family would have suffered knowing that whatever happened and like weren't able to have me around still. And that's not good. That's not what I want. I don't want my kids to suffer. I don't want my wife to suffer knowing that I was suffering to a point that I just didn't want to be here anymore. Like they don't deserve that. Like they deserve better, and I deserve better, and everyone else does too. Like we all deserve to be treated better and to not have to suffer. And those people out there that are suffering during this pandemic, like it really sucks, and I feel for them. I really do. And whatever I can do to help them at this point now, because I wasn't able to do anything for anybody a couple of years ago. And now that I've been working on myself and getting myself to a place, it's kind of like the thing where like, they tell you the safety information on an aircraft before you go to take a commercial flight, or like a flight to anywhere. And they say that in the event of a in-flight incident, like if the gas mask dropped from the ceiling, make sure you put the gas mask on yourself first, because then it's going to give you the opportunity to help someone else. So the pandemic was kind of like my gas mask dropping from the ceiling, and I used it, and then I'm able to help others put theirs on. And that's what I want to do with this podcast. That's what I see like you doing, you and V. Oh man, I got to mention V during this. And I don't know if you were going to shout out at the end, but like before we get to the end, like I want to make sure that like give a shout out to V Chatty. Is on your podcast with the Frown Town Podcast is so fucking hilarious, man. Like you're hilarious too, but some of the weird shit that V says like cracks me the fuck up, man.
He's pretty
am just like,
the funny thing about him is, so I met V and I met through comedy, right? So when you're a comedian. Yeah,
I was wondering about that. That was one of my questions. So I got actually.
One. Awesome. So V and I met through comedy. When you do comedy, what happens is a lot of times you end up going to open mics, and at open mics is just all comedians, kind of like different skill levels, all just kind of testing out new stuff. Some of them are testing out like sets to try to go do someplace else, and it's just all just a little bit of stage time to figure out how things work with the crowd, right? So when you do that, a lot of times, sometimes like you try to do multiple mics, and then other times, you end up like trying to doing one. But one of the more popular mics in Capitol Hill here in Seattle would typically have like 30 plus comedians on it. Yeah. So if you got like and the way signups worked is, everyone come in, put your name in a hat, they pull your name out, and you can pick your spot on the list. So if you got lucky, you could pick like super early in the list, do your thing, do like 8 or 9. You don't want to be 1 through 6. It's a shit show. You don't want to be 1 through 6. Which, by the way, if you ever decide to do comedy, if you're listening to this, you're like, I want to do stand up, and you go to an open mic and they offer you spot 1 through 6, don't take it. That's a shit show spot. Unless there are 6 comedians. There are 6 comedians, you want 5 and 6. But if there's more than 6, do not take 1 through 6. It is just, one is called the bullet for a reason. It's like, oh, who wants to do the bullet? What is the bullet? Because for whatever reason, crowds don't believe in laughing until 20 minutes in. Don't know what it is, but it is really hard to get a crowd to laugh 20 minutes in. But anyway, so what
they haven't got that alcohol in them yet, They're just sitting there like,
yeah, it's like they get frothy, I guess, after like 20 minutes in. But like the weirdest thing I think about that was that there's a 30 comedian list, and oftentimes you would get unlucky and you end up like number 26, number 27, and then sometimes you might be able to sneak off to another place and do another set and then come back. But this was like one of the hottest spots in the area. There wasn't a lot of other stuff around, and most of the crowds were at this one spot. So you're just trying to come here to do this one show, and so like because of that. And also there's 2 shows that are like this, by the way. So there's one at this one specific spot, and then the other one was at a club that's no longer open called the Comedy Underground, where in the same vibe, where it's just these are the biggest crowds in the area, in the city, and you want to run that spot. So I would see V often, and then the first time I saw him was him doing a set about fucking somebody. And I can't remember the full joke, but I remember it was really, really funny. But also I was like, this is the weirdest shit I've ever seen. It was very weird. But it was hilarious. And I remember I was like in awe of him. Like I was really in awe of V, because when I saw him perform, he was so good. I was like, oh shit, this is like a serious comedian. I was just starting out. I didn't, and I still have a little bit of this feeling towards a lot of comedians where it's like, I'm in awe of what they're able to do. And I don't know if they feel that way towards me, but that's just the way I feel towards them, because I'm a fan of comedy as well as a comedian. So like I was just in awe of what he was able to do and of how incredible he was. And I remember we were all sitting outside, like smoking a joint in a circle, and he kind of walked over and started talking to everybody, and we all kind of started like talking about stuff. And I found out he was a former evangelical, and like I found out he was from the South, or spent time in the South like I had, and we had so much in common that we just ended up becoming friends. So when I was looking for someone to start a podcast, he was one of the people I talked to first. I was like, hey, I want to start a podcast. I kind of have an idea of what I want to do. I know it's going to be kind of political. And then he was like, we should do laws. And I was like, yeah. And I kind of was like, all right, so I'll figure out like how to do all the technical stuff. And I was like, we need to think of a name. At the time, another comedian had a Zoom show that was an improv show that he was going to call Frown Town. He changed the name for us, which, by the way, shout out to Cal Bob. Thank you for that. It's now Pet City Improv is what he changed it to. But at the time, he was going to call it Frown Town. That's what he was going to call it. And we had kind of all crowdsourced the name together. So it was like, yeah, you should call it Frown Town. Ha, 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 ha. Yeah, Frown Town. Ha, ha. So then, we were like, what can we call this podcast? And I said, man, it's a fucking shame that we gave Cal Bob Frown Town, right? It'd be perfect for this. And V was like, well, ask him if we could have it. So we just went to Cal Bob's like, yo, can we have Frown Town if you don't care? Like, can you name it something else? He's like, well, yeah, I actually kind of want to do Pet City Improv anyway. I was like, bet. So then we got Frown Town. Yeah. So, wow. So we got Frown Town. And then we were looking for music for the intro, and V knows Kevin, who is in a really dope local band called FCon. They're a metal band. Yeah, they're a metal
F-Con,
band.
yeah.
And V just asked Kevin, like, hey, can we use a song of yours? And Kevin was like, anyone you want, just use it. So I was listening to their music, which I love. They're super dope. I have an LP by them, like a full legit like record. And as I was listening to the music, I came across Liquid Fury, and the opening of Liquid Fury. There's no words. It's just like this like driving like dun dun like dun 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 dun, and that became our theme. And then there's this other part near the end where they're ending the song and they did this dun 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 dun, and that became the sting. And so that became our theme song. And we started off foolishly, I think, recording 2 shows a week. And very ambitious, very foolish, because it was during the quarantine. We weren't doing anything during those weeks. So we're like, fuck it, let's do 2 shows a week. And we were pumping out, and now looking back, because like we hit this point now where it's like, we really struggle sometimes to come up with show topics. Like it's behind the scenes, it's work.
I've been wondering, man, like I'm like, how do you guys do it? You know, like it is just, I mean, everything from, I mean, I'm not like a huge podcast listener. I've heard several like over the past many years, but like it's, you know, with all the mental health issues, it's been hard to just sit down and listen to a show. But like, I have to say, like, your guys' podcast was like one of the first ones I'd listened to in a long time. I've listened to a few other ones, and I'm hopefully I'll get some of those guys on here at some point too. But like yours was like, it really hooked me, especially with that intro, because like the F-Con, like it just, I was like, what the hell? It just kind of gets you pumped up, and you're like, what are they going to talk about after this? You know, like you get pumped up and you're like, I want to hear some shit, you know? And I'm like, and it just like, me and Rachel were sitting there, and it's like, you know, and the way like you and V like go back and forth, you know, and like sometimes like with V's, like, I don't know, like it's like the laugh that he has
a very
so
distinct
like,
laugh. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh my god! Like
one of my favorite dynamics that we started off doing, that we still do, is and I've said this to V before, and this is what I personally call it. I call it the Sherman and Mr. Peabody dynamic. I don't know if you ever watch Rocky and Bullwinkle. They have that little side show with Sherman and Mr. Peabody, which I think has been built out into a movie at this point. I'm pretty sure it has. Actually, I would truly think it has. But there's this whole thing in that cartoon where they would travel back in time, and Sherman doesn't know anything.
Yep, the Wayback Machine. Yeah.
Sherman doesn't know anything about it. Mr. Peabody knows everything. And we alternate who is Sherman and who's Mr. Peabody. But it's a fun way to kind of go through some of the nonsense that we cover. Because, like, you know, it's law can be dry. It can be difficult to understand. And, like, we were, you know, in a lot of the cases in shows, we're reading full text, which can be a lot to consume. V's idea, by the way, to do the foghorn leghorn voice, classically good. And I think what happens is, you know, we just kind of developed a way to try to make it fun, so that, you know, it's you're like learning at the same time as like being engaged with this information that like maybe you didn't care about before. Because like, honestly, like I don't know shit about laws, and I don't really give a shit, you know, like but with the past, like, I'll say this, like during the whole like Trump administration, paying a lot more attention.
Like I started paying a lot more attention, because I will admit that I became complacent during the Obama years, because I was so used to things just being as they were and being kind of cool and laid back and chill. And I was like, oh, everything's all right. I have these, you know, the government has these checks and balances, and it's all in place, and everything's flowing fine. And Obama's cool, and he's like, you know, he's got a handle on it, you know. And then I was thrown for a loop when the world like seemed like, I mean, the country seemed to like just lose their fucking minds and elect this crazy sociopath that like I didn't know. I assumed that at this point, and this is going to go into my next question, but like, damn it, we're running out of time. But like, yeah, V is awesome. I want to state that again. Yeah, you have a great co-host or host, and like, you guys have a great show. It made me want to get back into podcasting and to kind of have like a goal or intention in mind, because like I did with the mental health thing, because of all the stuff I've been through. But like, the thing that made me, and this is going to lead up to my next question, the thing that triggered me when Trump was elected was that back in like 2008 or 2009, I started hearing, I'm very into like physics and like quantum physics and experimentation. And I knew a lot about CERN and the Large Hadron Collider, the LHC. I knew they were going to be doing these different experiments trying to find the Higgs boson, which is like the God particle. And at that time, I was like, something is going to get fucked up. Like something is going to go wrong. And I don't know what that is, but I think it's going to be a major shift in the way we conceive reality. And after that, like it was around 2010, I moved from the East Coast back to the Midwest, and I took a different job. And ever since I took that job, everything had been downhill for so long. I went through a divorce. I had another kid. Then I went through the divorce, and then I worked a job that I didn't necessarily care for. And then I lost my dad and another brother. This was the third brother I lost. And everything was going so downhill. And I lived in a place that I thought just fucking totally blew. Like the East Coast, there's shit to do, like all over the place. The middle of the Midwest, I'm like an hour and a half
crazy.
East of Kansas City. I have to travel an hour and a half to get to the closest city. I live in the middle of bumfuck nowhere with cow fields everywhere, and there's a big Air Force base. Like that's it. But like everything fucking sucks here. And I went through all that shit and lost people and lost my ex-wife, and like it just was chaos. But like then everything kind of looked up a little bit. I got with my current wife, Rachel, you know, and that's how me and you met. Like, I mean, she was a big fan of you. And like, I was like, this guy seems really cool, you know, like, and then I listened to your podcast and I'm like, holy fuck, this guy's awesome. You know, like I gotta get him on the show. Like, and you've helped me get going with this, and I totally appreciate it. But all that shit and going back to the LHC and those experiments, I think they shifted our reality. And that's why Trump got elected, because that would not have happened in the reality that I know. In my past that I know, that never would have happened. The country that I am used to, that I used to live in and believe in, like would not have elected some talk show or some reality show host that is also a millionaire. Like it just, and also has like the worst fucking hairdo you can fucking imagine. Like, he's like, and he's like orange. You can't. This fucking Oompa Loompa is the president. You can't tell me that reality hasn't shifted. This is not the original world.
I don't know if reality has shifted, but I think we have seen a convergence of almost like a perfect storm of a lot of our worst impulses that we didn't going unchecked, right? So, like, I mean, the obvious one that I'm going to get out of the way right off the bat is white supremacy. Let's just go ahead and knock that out of the park. White supremacy is a thing. It's still here. We never checked it. Let's just put that up. We'll put it to the side. I feel like it's too obvious, right? It's too obvious. We'll put it to the side. The thing I think that we really let go unchecked, quite frankly, is our worship of celebrity and how we feel about celebrities, not just celebrities, but also wealth. So our worship of celebrity, how we view wealth, and I'm putting pins in each one of these. I'm going to come back. So worship of celebrity, how we view wealth, and then in our political process, I'm going to say the sensationalizing of our news cycle coinciding with our political process. So those three things I feel kind of went out of control, and they're unchecked right around 2012 when we were really feeling ourselves. Like you said, during the Obama years, we were like, baby, we solved it. And when we did, it felt like it. And you're not wrong.
Yeah.
It felt like America was the shit. I was overseas during that time, and people were like, you're American, we love you. Hugs, wow. Obama, America, USA. We were very much, I get it. We were the shit, and we were advanced, we pushed forward. So and then I'm going to do one more thing, and this is in honor of V. The fourth thing I'm going to put in is V said this today, and I want to honor him with that because he did say it, and it's on my mind. It's the belief that progress is unchangeable. So those four things. All right. So let's start with our worship of celebrity. We worship celebrities so much so that we must know every detail of their lives, and no detail is too salacious. And no matter how salacious those details are, they never pull away from the celebrity itself. There's never a time you hear I remember Marv Albert got caught with a prostitute, and everyone was like, Marv Albert, but he's still Marv Albert in the Hall of Fame because of his celebrity. We admire talent and celebrity so much that it's almost nothing you can do to remove that sheen from it. R. Kelly raped women, so did Bill Cosby, and there are still people who are fans of theirs who are like, I don't believe it, or I don't care. So that is something that we've let run unchecked in our society for a very long time. I think then our viewpoint of wealth, when we look at how we think of wealthy people, we think if you have wealth, therefore you are smart and have done good things. Being wealthy is success, and success means you've done all the right things to be successful. It's all fallacy and false. It's completely spurious. Donald Trump lucked into it. He was born into his wealth, and he was given money by his very wealthy father. You don't have to work hard to be wealthy. That's not the case in our world, but we've been fed that as a story and as a narrative, and we believe that narrative because it's very important for us to believe it to stay capitalist. If that narrative's not true, then all that working hard for capitalism's sake kind of means we're just doing it because we're greedy, and that makes us feel bad. But if we think of it as if you work hard, you can be successful and have wealth, and everyone can be successful if everyone works hard, and not as very few can be successful and get lucky enough to have wealth while the rest of us give them that wealth, then that's those two narratives, one can exist in capitalism and one can't. So that ran unchecked. And then the last two things, the sensationalizing of the political cycle, the news cycle, and then because of that, the political cycle. News, I realized this when I was like 19 years old in college, working at a hotel, and I used to work overnight setting up like conference rooms. And it was a business hotel, so they did this thing where they would just show like news channels just on all the TVs on like in the hallways. It's just fucking headline news in Iraq, blah, 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 blah. And that was just going all the time. And what's happened is the news cycle has turned into this 24-hour attempt to hold our attention. And as our attention spans have gotten shorter, and also due to the constraints of capitalism and the needs to grow as a company, every news company is a corporation that's publicly traded. They have to return dividends to their stockholders. And to do that, you must grow. To grow, you have to sell advertisements. So you have to get people looking. You need eyeballs. I need you looking at the screen. I need these news stories to matter to you. And whether or not I do it ethically does not matter, because at the end of the day, if I do it ethically and we don't get enough eyeballs, we fail. I think that kind of coming in with our political system and the fact that Trump, once he became a celebrity who's already a celebrity, but when he ran, got an outsized amount of attention, but a lack of scrutiny because he's a celebrity and he's wealthy, and we don't criticize those people. No one's going to watch TV where we talk shit about him. Besides, people are smart enough, right, to listen to what he's saying and be like, he's dumb. But they're not. People are not that smart. And they're not, because they think that wealthy people are successful. Anything he says, if they don't understand it, they think, well, he's smarter than me. He's a billionaire. I'm not, so he must know what he's talking about. He's a celebrity. He's been on TV. I know all this stuff about him. I like him. I think he's funny. I think he's this. And because I worship him as a celebrity, and I think him as being wealthy is intelligent, and because I've been able to see and be exposed to him on television an outsized amount because we need eyeballs, all of that kind of fomented And by the way, white supremacy is still here. So if he's saying stuff like send those brown people back to Mexico and speaking to me about things that I already kind of think that hasn't been checked and I haven't really learned that that's not a way to think about human beings. All of that kind of comes together into this perfect storm where he gets enough power to get elected because we have an electoral college and you don't have to win the popular vote. So when all of that came together and then coupled with that, the idea in our minds that, again, like V said, we think progress is indelible. As soon as we take a step forward, we will never go back. And that's not true. We took steps forward and we were in a real good place. And as we've seen, progress requires us to work to keep it. It's just like going to the gym. When you go to the gym every day, you get into a level of shape of a person who is you're into a level of shape that is beyond what you would be if you were sedentary. But the minute you stop going to the gym and you spend more and more time not going, you lose all of that. And that's where we are. Yeah. We were at the gym, working out, taking care of ourselves, really trying to think about who we were, trying to be better. And then we quit and we stopped. And then we just started binging junk food and watching all the worst things on Netflix. And now here we are. And we're in a bit of a hangover. We went on a bit of a bender, I assume. But the thing that was interesting to me that you said, again, I think it's really interesting, is you said that was not the world or the reality that we had. And I would say that for a lot of us, those things happening around us weren't noticeable. And it's because it's not through any fault of our own. None of us saw that coming. I mean, it's easy to look back now and be like, bang, 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 right? It's easy to do that now because we're here. And it's like, oh God, how did we get here? Analysis is easy. At the time, I mean, again, the expansion of the news didn't seem like a bad thing. We thought it was great at the time. You can find out what's happening anywhere in the world at any time. That's great. And the celebrity worship, most of us, even with Princess died, though we should have right there been like, maybe we've taken this too far. Most of us were still comfortable with the level of worship we had for celebrities. And of course, our viewpoint of wealth isn't going to change because we're in a capitalist society. And if you're born and bred in this, it takes work to get to a point to realize, especially when every socialist country that gets mentioned is a failure. It's like Venezuela. You want to be them, or you want to be communist USSR that's not around anymore. And in all of those times, what they don't mention is that in every government that's ever tried to do a non-democracy, they were and especially when they were like, we're going to do it with capitalism. They were purposely sabotaged by the capitalist democracies around them. Never gets mentioned. But when you look at the world that was around us and the things that were kind of building towards this, there was nothing we could really do or foresee without prior knowledge that this was going to happen. Maybe smarter people tried to warn us, but even then it was few and far in between. And no one could have foreseen all of this coming together to create this. I mean, none of us could have foreseen that. I mean, there's so many different factors that came together, which is why it doesn't feel real. But it's just one of those things where there's so many different things that conspired against us to put us through that 4 years of hellscape that, quite frankly, I'm worried that it's happening again now. And I feel like I'm always going to have that little bit of paranoia of like, I don't know if I don't trust this country, quite frankly. And I don't mean that to be rude, but I don't trust you. It's just like not you, but America. Sorry. I don't trust America. I just don't trust America to think clearly for everyone. I feel like when the chips are down, people start voting for themselves, and that's the problem.
Yeah, that like checks and balances I was talking about earlier, that's like out the fucking window. Like it is out there. Like and what you just said, my God, thank you. Like that. Like I mean, it the things I was talking about before with like the we're like shifting realities. Like I think that's taking place in like a maybe a different way.
All of those things building.
It didn't cause.
We don't know because to your point, maybe that was the shift. The shift may have been those things happening because they all sort of happened because of the rise of the internet and our and basically the expansion of corporations throughout time. So, excuse me, I now for some reason want to cough like crazy.
Well, it's like I don't want to. Now I'm thinking like maybe that's like what I was saying or what I've been theorizing in a way is kind of like an excuse, like, and I don't want it to be like an excuse for what has actually taken place, like I've been doing research lately on like the Mandela effect, like, and I don't know if you looked into that, but it's like there's so many weird things that I remember as a kid that are not like if you try to research it now, it just don't add up. Well, you're like, what the fuck?
Sketches
like
with
this is not it.
The Sketches one was one of the popular ones, but I don't remember Sketches having a T. I know people like Sketches had a T, and I was like, I never remember having a T. But I think some of it, the Mandela effect, I think is something that's interesting about our minds. It shows up in especially in eyewitness testimony. And I realize I'm just burning time. I'm so sorry. It shows up in eyewitness testimony.
Well, it's like false memories, like we have false memories of things that like maybe they just didn't happen. Like we think they did. There's a great
study that was done, and they filmed it, so it was fantastic. They had this guy walk in a regular charter class, run up to a professor, like steal her purse, and then run out of the classroom. And so they had this college group of students do this. They're all in school, and so like this one guy walks in, like walks up, says steals the purse, runs out. And so then they say, hey, who saw what happened? People raise their hands. They're like, all right, so we're just gonna have people sit down and talk to you, and you just give us your eyewitness accounts. His height ranged from I think he was actually like 6'2". His height was given to them anywhere from between 5'7" to 6'6". People misremembered the color of his clothing that they had on. People misremembered like what he had on. Of like one person, I think, got almost everything correct. And so what they did is they had the agent feed him things that were incorrect to see if he would like change his story, and he did. And it was all just kind of to show. It was in a law class too, by the way. So it was for people who are going to be lawyers. Wow. And it was to show them, like, eyewitness accounts, while they are valid, they're a valid form of evidence. They're not the end all that we kind of paint them to be, because we trust our memories, solely trust our memories. But in truth, they're not as strong as we think they are. And that's okay. That's fine. Right. Like, they don't need to be. They're strong as they need to be, but they're not as perfect.
It's normal. Like we don't we don't remember like every single detail, like, because not all of us have that like photographic memory, like, which is like, very rare, and like we're very susceptible to influence of everything. Like, and you said like the person gave them information, and like they would change their story, like, and that would happen to anyone. And then, like you said, it's not wrong, it's not bad, it's just like how our brains work, like we don't really know like what we see every day. And like I think you did a tweet the other day about like I saw that, and you're like, what if we cloned ourselves or something like that? Like, would you let somebody clone you? And I'm like, I could have sworn several times throughout my life I saw myself like walking by, and like they kind of started to look at me and then like quickly ran away. Like, and I'm like, huh?
What if you were time traveling?
No, never mind. And I just kept going, because I'm like,
it was you time traveling from a future time.
It was me, and I'm checking on me, back. Like, and I've always that's why I'm the wormhole, because like I've had these theories and I've told people this kind of stuff before, and they're like, like it's just crazy stuff.
No,
like,
I think so. I will say this. Obviously, everyone skews in differing ways in their view of the world, but none of us can prove that that's not the case. There's none of us that can defend it. And people are like, well, you can't prove it, but you also can't disprove it. So, I mean, if and with perception especially, I think that's probably one of the key things here is that so much of our perception of everything, of the world, is kind of tied to, so much of how we perceive the world is tied to our own internalized experience. And you kind of can't pull that away from a person. Because if I strip your perception from you, it's almost like I'm stripping your own experiences from you as well. You see what I mean? Like me saying like, no, you have to align to my experience of the world feels like I'm just taking away your own individuality. And I think just because you know, you know, it's like the thing with people who and again, at Burning Time, it's like people who believe in the flat Earth. Sure, I feel like you can take math, and in my experience, you can take math and be like, look at this obelisk. Now, this obelisk, you know, famously done in Egypt. It's a thing that we figured out on paper first, and I get it. But if you want to believe the world is flat, who are you hurting? Why do I need to change that? Now, if you're like a teacher and you have a class full of students, you're like, hey, kids, world is flat. No. Stop that. I'm not here for that. that feels unscientific. I'm not here for that. But if it's just your own belief system and you're just like, hey, when I get up in the morning, knowing the world is flat is how I get out of bed, dope. Because, I mean, like, there are people who believe there's an invisible being above us that watches us all the time. I don't believe it, but some people do, and that's okay. Like, that's what gets them out of bed, and that's what you need.
What harm does it do to anyone if they believe a certain thing and it gets them through the day? You know, like, as long as they're not using their belief to push it, as long as they're not taking their belief and pushing it on other people or forming a cult, you know, and like trying to gather followers and like hold up in some kind of like shack, you know, in the middle of nowhere.
Essentially, it's almost kind of a, you know, as long as you give everyone else around you the same, you know, grace that we are giving you to have that belief. So we don't force our beliefs on you. We don't try to manipulate you with our beliefs. So don't force your beliefs on us. Don't try to manipulate us with your beliefs.
Right.
But you're welcome to have them within yourself, and that's cool. And I want to make sure I'm clear about this, that it's a difference between beliefs and facts, because there are certain things that are factual that I'm not here to argue and debate about, but there are so many other things that are in the gray area that we want to make into a debate, where it's like, it's why do we need to argue about this? And even for the world being flat or round, I don't feel like we need to argue with these people who believe it's flat. If you believe it's flat, cool. I don't know why convincing you is important. Same thing for the moon landing. Did it happen? Wasn't there. I assume it did. Feels like it's real. But if you think it didn't, what does it matter? Like, our world is not different tomorrow if we find out that it didn't happen. It's literally not different. I don't think, well, I don't know. I assume. Maybe they come out tomorrow and say moon landing didn't happen, and then people just go crazy in the streets. We burn the country to the ground, and we're like, we're socialists now. Maybe. I don't know. But very likely people will be like, I knew it. Haha. And then we just go about the rest of our day.
Yeah. Yep. We just move on. We're just like, oh, that's what happened. Like, I kind of knew it, but
lied
like,
to us? No. What?
Are you serious? That would never happen. Oh my God. The government never lies. Oh my God. Hey man, this has been awesome having you on here. Man, this is like an epic episode, I think.
It's
so much ground
epic
covered.
Being long, I think we definitely covered that ground.
Well, so far every episode I've had has been pretty long, and I'm not really too worried about it. You know, like I keep telling every episode, I'm like, hey, we're gonna take a break. I might be back. I might not be back, but like, I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm like, it's just, you know, I'm just getting back into this. So if people don't like it, then they can just.
Yeah. I agree with you. That's the best part about podcasting is that, you know, again, it's an art form, and like every other art form, this is you working and perfecting your art. Nothing wrong with that at all. I'm a big fan of it. I encourage it. Obviously, I'm here to support it, and I think it's the best part of podcasting is that ability to have that art form of expression. It's fantastic.
Yeah, well, man, everybody out there, you got to check out the Frown Town Podcast because it's fucking awesome. So, Jay, thanks for being on here. We're gonna duck out. Everybody who's listening, This is, let's see. I want to give a shout out to Awesome Rob 029 or Big Rob 029 on Twitch. He's a gaming streamer on there. He's also a podcaster.
Rob.
And he,
Rob.
You know Rob?
We go back.
All right. He's my good buddy. We've been talking for years on Discord. And I'm going to be gaming with him this weekend. We're doing the Extra Life for Kids gaming marathon. We're doing 12 hours this Saturday, which would be November 6th. And 6th. And then also 12 hours on November 13th on Saturday. Please check that out. Donate if you can. It's for the kids. Kids are in the children's hospitals with some curable and uncurable diseases. We need to help them have a good time by providing like gaming systems and stuff for them, and also help just cheer them up. Cheer them up, like give them something to watch gaming and learn from us, and have games to play themselves. It's an awesome charity. It's been going on for years. Check it out, Extra Life for Kids. All of you other fabulous podcasters out there, thank you for doing what you do and giving me the encouragement for doing this that I'm doing now. Everyone that's listening, please leave us some feedback on social media so I can try to make this as good as I possibly can. Apple, iTunes, other podcast places and stuff. Thank you everyone for listening. If you want to go to our website, it's the link tr.ee/wormhole_manifest. Twitter is the @wormfestpod. We have a Instagram and also an email. If you want to be on the show, email us wormholemanifest@gmail.com. Just go to the link, the website Linktree, and you can get to all of our social media sites. Future topics coming your way. Next week is going to be awesome. We have a guy who is a paranormal investigator. So that's going to be dope. I can't wait for that one. Yeah. And then, of course, future episodes, we're going to continue to deal with mental health. I would also like to tackle some of the harm reduction issue. It's a big topic right now with using drugs, substances, and all that. Like, there is a safe way to do these things, and we don't have to make it taboo or make this some crazy stigma that all drugs are bad, because some are beneficial to some, and we need to get the education out there. We don't need to encourage the past, war on drugs stigma that's been going on forever. We need to educate people on the substances that are out there, the plant medicine, and all the things that are being doing and the research being done that can help treat things like mental illness. This is very important. So I encourage people to listen and to come back and hear what we have to say. Jay, thanks again for being on here. This is an awesome episode. I am so appreciative that you've been on here.
This was great. I had a lot of fun. This was awesome.
Thank you, man. It's been awesome, man. Okay, everybody out there, we will see you next time. Hopefully we can be on here sometime. That would be really cool. All right. Well, I'm going to go get some pizza, I think. Oh, man. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a long episode, but hey, what can you do? So, peace.